All right, let's go with the incredibly difficult quest, Race Across Harad. You might notice some cards you haven't seen before. That's because I am using an alt art deck of the one deck. This alt art deck was made by Bjorn. There's going to be a link in the description if you want to print a copy of it yourself. It's absolutely beautiful, and I wanted to get it on the table at least once, and I'm going to be explaining later why I'm using the one deck against this quest. But I did want to get this alt art deck on the table at least once, and I'm not sure if everybody likes alt art decks, so I will be switching back to regular art after this quest. But again, just an absolutely gorgeous deck by Bjorn, and I have a copy of it printed, and I wanted to use it at least once. All right, so let's look at the hero lineup. This is an Elrond Vilya deck. So we have Elrond, who is 13 threat, 3/2, 3/4. I can spend resources from his resource pool to pay for allies of any sphere. And then if there's ever healing going on, he increases the amount healed by 1. So I plan on getting a lot of big allies in using Elrond and Vilya. This also has the extremely powerful hero of Tactics Eowyn for willpower, 9 threat, 1 attack, 1 defense, 3 hit points, but then you can raise your threat by 3, so she gets plus 9 attack for the rest of the phase, and when you start the game, you reduce your threat by 3. Also, to round off the lineup, we have Arwen Indomiel. She is Spirit, 9 threat, 3/1/2/3. Action, discard a card from your hand to add 1 resource to a Noldor hero's resource pool or to Aragorn's resource pool. So that is limit once per round. It's some resource acceleration. She can give her resources to her dad, and then he can spend them on allies of his choice. So let's drop my threat by 3, putting me at 28, which is an excellent starting threat. And now let's go through the setup of this quest. It's kind of confusing, so we're going to be walking through it together. So quest card 1A, Setting Out, explains everything we need to do. This is another one of those racing quests where the enemies are making progress on their stages and we're trying to make progress against ours. So you separate them with your A's in one pile and then all of your C's in another pile. Each player gets to control a tamed Mumak, so just stop for a second and realize how awesome that is. So the Mumaks are 2/5/2/8. They're immune to player card effects. Damage from undefended attacks must be assigned to a tamed Mumak, and if the Mumak leaves play, so does the player. The orcs have their own staging area, and in it you put the Uruk Chieftain, so he's 4 threat. That's all we got to worry about right now. The River Harmon is going to be set aside, out of play. We're going to worry about that later. 1B of Setting Out says we find a location and add it to the staging area, and then we advance to 2A. The location I'm grabbing is the Desert Oasis. It's actually a nice one. It's a 2/2, and while it's the active location, when it's explored, we get to heal 4 damage from among characters in play, and then after it becomes the active location, you exhaust a character. That's a nice one to start with. Okay, 2A, Racing North, we have to choose our staging area or the Orcs area, and we add this Uruk Warg Rider that we set aside to one of them. We're going to add it to our staging area so we can take care of it. He's terrible. He's 40 engagement, 3/3/1/5, and then he gets plus X attack while attacking a character with less willpower than his threat, where X is the difference. And that's terrible because most good defenders don't have any willpower. All right, 2B, Racing North, 15 progress. Uruk Chieftain cannot take damage. After characters are committed to the quest, no more than 5 progress can be placed here, 10 if each tamed Mumak in play was committed to the quest. So we only can put 10 progress on this stage if we want. And like I said, it's a race. We're going to be trying to put as much as possible. But the orcs are chasing us, so they're 1D. It's 10 progress, and the Uruk Chieftain cannot leave the orcs area, and then forced. At the end of the quest phase, we're going to discard the top card of the encounter deck. We're going to place X progress on this stage, where X is the discarded card's threat, plus the total threat in the orcs area. So that's why we put the Warg Rider in our staging area. That's just less progress they'll be able to make. All right, that was a lot, and I think I did it all correctly. Let's talk about why I'm bringing the One Deck. So the One Deck is a very famous deck made by C-Stan where he successfully took it against every quest, including Nightmare, and beat him, never swapping out any cards. It has a fantastic write-up here on the Rings DB if you want to read all about it. And I knew at some point I'd want to use it in this progression series. It just seems like one of those most famous decks that you should at least get into your series once. And this is a great quest for it because this quest is so hard. You need to send lots of willpower. You need to be able to defend a very tough enemy right from the get-go. You need to attack hard. You need everything. And for solo, that's very tough. In multiplayer, somebody brings a high willpower deck, somebody brings a combat-y deck, and it's still a very hard quest. but it feels pretty balanced. In solo, it is extremely hard to balance everything. And if I wasn't bringing the one deck, I would be bringing a very powerful deck. I'd be using powerful heroes with powerful cards. It's the only way you're going to beat this quest. It does not let up. And even this deck will struggle early in the game. So we are going to see if I can get the win here. In my opening hand, I'm looking for Vilya. That's about it. Or a way to find Vilya. If I don't have a way to find Vilya or Vilya, I'm taking a mulligan. Okay, Heed the Dream, Unexpected Courage. That's nice. That's a one of. Steward, I can't get that in without Vilya. Elven Light, Gandalf, and Furial. Okay, well, Elven Light lets me do some card draw, and Heed the Dream lets me do some card draw. So I will keep this. I'm tempted to get rid of it, but I have my single copy of Unexpected Courage. The one deck has 2 copies. I swapped one of them out for Light of Valinor. But my single copy of Unexpected Courage is pretty good. All right, so we drew an Eagle of the Misty Mountain. I'm going to play Heed the Dream, so I get to search my top 5 cards and add a card to my hand. So hopefully Vilya is in these top 5. There's Jubire, there's a Gandalf, there's Elfhelm, another Jubire. The 5th card down was Vilya. Okay, good. All right, we got it. I have played this deck before quite a few times, and sometimes it takes turn 2 or 3 to get Vilya out, but it comes out. But against this quest, you're going to want it as soon as possible. Absolutely. So Vilya is in hand, and I have some choices to make. So Elven Light is going to be discarded to Arwen's ability, and she's going to give that resource to Elrond, and then I'm going to spend 2 resources to put Vilya on Elrond. I exhaust Elrond and Vilya, and then I look at the top card of my deck, and I can put it in play. If I can't put it in play, I put it on the bottom of my deck. So this deck is full of very high-cost, powerful allies like Gandalf. So there we go. I get a free Gandalf on turn 1. With his ability, I think I'm going to draw cards. This deck also has 3 copies of the Imladris Stargazer, which lets you rearrange your deck. And, oh, that's a shame. Okay, so then the Northern Tracker, and Light of Valinor. But I have drawn my 2nd copy of Steward of Gondor, so there's no way I can get that into play. The only way is with Vilya, which is a shame, but Chris even says in his description, you don't need Steward to win. It's the one deck, so he put it in there, but you do not need Steward to win. It just helps you build your board states faster. All right, I will keep my single resource on Elrond because there's no point in giving him Light of Valinor when he's already exhausted. Sending everybody on the quest, including the Mumak, and we get a Surging Racing Warg. So that attaches to an Orc, and it boosts all the stats by 1. Okay, we will attach it there, and it surges. Now each ally in play gets -1 to their stats, so kind of opposite effects there. So I get -2 willpower because the Mumak and Gandalf get -1. We added 1 to the staging, so we make 5 progress, which is really nice. And the way the mechanics of this quest work is the cards in the Orc staging area are not interacting with us until they are at the same stage number as we are. So since they are at their number 1 and we are at our number 2, the threat in the Orc staging area does not affect us. So now let's discard the top card of the deck and see how much progress they make. So we're looking for a Treachery, something with low... Okay, it's the worst one, so it's 5. So they make 5 progress plus the 4 from the Chieftain because he is in the Orc staging area. So they already made 9 out of their 10. That's bad. That's bad. That's really bad. Okay, we're going to travel to the Oasis. So that says after it becomes the active location, we exhaust somebody. We have nobody to exhaust, so that's all right. We're going to engage this guy. He is going to attack us undefended. He is attacking for 4. It's really kind of the best way to take care of him. And then if we are not at the same stage as the Orcs, we put this guy in play engaged with us. So now we're engaged with this attacker, and I have to take his attack undefended. No shadow, though, because we've already passed the point in the combat phase where we dealt out shadow cards. Now I'm going to trigger Eowyn. This is what the one deck does. So you trigger her effect by raising your threat. She's ready, and now she's attacking for 9, and she will kill the Warg Rider. His little mount there goes back up to the staging area, and we're still engaged with this other one. And that's what's really nice about the one deck and Eowyn in general. I've used her like this before. If you start the game with a big enemy or one that you want to kill, you can trigger her on turn 1 and kill pretty much anything. So that's why she's just an amazing hero. But yeah, that's not great that the orcs are going to catch up with us so quickly. We drew a test of will, so that's nice. There's some really good treacheries to cancel. All right, Light of Valinor is going to go on Elrond, so he can now commit to the quest without exhausting. Steward of Gondor, I'm going to discard because I'll never get it into play, and I'll discard it to Arwen, so that marks that I used Arwen's ability, giving that resource to Elrond, of course, because he can spend all of his resources for allies of any sphere. We're going to spend 2 spirit resources. Elrond now has the spirit icon thanks to Vilya, something I always forget to mention when Vilya gets attached to him. We're going to put Unexpected Courage on him, so now he can use Vilya right now, and we get the Galadriel's Greeting. Okay, so I get to drop my threat by 6. That's nice. I mean, it really is, but I would have rathered an ally, to be honest, because this quest just, you want bodies on the table. There's no doubt about it. All right, Elrond readies back up. This deck lets you do a lot of blind Vilyas, where you can pretty much play Vilya without knowing what's coming, and you will almost always get a card that you want to play. All right, we go on the quest, and we get another Desert Oasis. That's really nice. I was really hoping for any location, so very glad to see that. So we do make 5 more progress, and we clear the Oasis, and that can heal 4 damage from among characters in play, and since the Mumak is only immune to player card effects, so we will heal 4 from our Mumak that I have named Stompy. Okay, let's do the orc thing. So we discard Blistering Urg. It has a value of X for threat, which is actually a 0, but it didn't matter because the orc chieftain had a value of 4. So they made 4 more progress, and this says 2C racing north. If the players have already defeated 2B, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until an orc enemy is discarded, and we add that enemy to the orcs area. So if you pull too far ahead from the orcs, they get enemies added, and it stinks. It really stinks. You really got to pace yourself and try not to get too far ahead of them. It makes the quests a little bit easier. All right, let's look at side 2D. While the players are at 3B, Uruk Chieftain cannot leave the orcs area. Forced, at the end of the quest phase, return the Uruk Chieftain to the orcs area. Then we discard the top card of the encounter deck, and all the threat from that card, plus any cards in the orcs area, get added to the orcs quest. And then if we are still at 2B, when the orcs complete this stage, we lose the game. So now the orcs have caught up to us. So any cards in their staging area will be counted as threat against us when we go questing, and any orcs in their area make engagement checks against us. The Uruk Chieftain says at the end of the engagement phase, he will engage the player engaged with the most orcs, and 0 is the most. So even if you're not engaged with anything, it will engage you. Okay, we cannot travel to that oasis because I cannot exhaust somebody. I need everybody ready. So we're going to get attacked by 3. As you can see, very tough quest. This is turn 2. This is what's happening. Okay, Elrond defends here. Attacking enemy gets +1 if it destroys a character. We're going to place progress. All right, Elrond does not die. He almost does. Now we're going to have this Wargrider guy attack for 3. That's going to go on the Mumak. And then Stompy's also going to take an undefended attack from this Racing Warg. So Stompy's almost dead. He's almost been stomped out, but he can attack for 5. So Stompy gets some revenge there and kills that Wargrider enemy. And we're going to go into the next stage limping along. Thank goodness we found that second Desert Oasis, or we would be in a lot of trouble. And we draw Glorfindel, who could be played from your discard pile. Okay, great. So let's discard him to get a resource on Elrond. You know, I had to take both those attacks undefended. I needed to kill one of these enemies. All right, Blind Vilya, we get Northern Tracker. Okay, excellent. So a body on the table, like I said, that's important. Elrond's going to ready up with his Unexpected Courage. And I have some resources, but not enough to play Furial, who I really want to get in play. I really want to get Furial in. And it doesn't make sense to play Gandalf to kill an enemy that only has 1 hit point. The chieftain can't take damage. But I really want to get another ally in play, so I'll spend 2 off of Eowyn and 2 off of Elrond to put in the Eagles of the Misty Mountain. So I have another big ally on the table. And yeah, let's go. Let's do this. So we got Arwen, Eowyn, and Elrond committing to the quest for a total of 10. I'm up against 2, and I need to make 5 progress, and we get Howling at Their Heels Treachery. So when revealed, if the players are not at the same stage as the orcs, we would add the total threat in the orcs area to our staging area. If we are at the same stage, each enemy in play gets +1 threat until the end of the phase. All right, well that actually does nothing. So that worked out really good. So we are going to make the 5 progress needed to advance to our next quest stage. So we have now pulled ahead of the orcs, which was really important. So 3A, hunted in Harad. When revealed, shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck and discard cards until an orc enemy is discarded. We're going to add that enemy to the orcs area. So you don't get to pull ahead for long because the quest makes you add enemies back to the orcs area, which of course their threat will be included in the threat when you are figuring out how much progress they make. So you only get like 1, maybe 2 turns of rest before all the orcs in the orcs area come back at you, nipping at your heels. All right, we got the Uruk Pursuer, so that's going to be 2 more threat added to the orcs area that we're going to have to worry about. 3B is 20 quest points. The Uruk Chieftain cannot take damage. We're going to reveal an additional card during the quest phase if the Uruk Chieftain is at stage 2D, which he is. And then forced, after characters are committed to the quest, no more than 5 progress can be placed. 10 if we send the Mumak. Let's see how much progress the orcs make. Our top card was 2 threat. The Chieftain gets moved back up to that orcs area, and it's +1 threat, and so is the Uruk Pursuer. So that is a total of 10. I believe that is correct because even though we are now not at the same stage as the orcs, when the treachery was revealed, we were. So the +1 threat applies. Let's travel to the Oasis by exhausting a character. So Stompy's going to take a little break. We're getting attacked by an enemy who's attacking for 1, so that's no big deal. So we'll have the Northern Tracker defend it. The shadow is nothing. I'm glad we haven't revealed that guy yet. That's another mount attachment that adds 2 to everything. And then the Eagles of the Misty Mountain can take care of that orc, warg, wolf thing. It's dead. Okay, Eagle versus warg. Eagle wins. All right, next round. I am looking for the Imladra Stargazer. That's what I really want. But I find Jubair. Okay, Jubair is great because he's an amazing defender, and those orcs are going to be catching up to us this round. All right, let's discard Steward to Arwen's ability to get a resource on Elrond. And then in a last-ditch effort, I'm going to spend Arwen's resource to pull an Elven Light out of my discard pile and see if the card we draw with it is the Stargazer. If not, I'm just going to do a blind Vilya. The card we get is a Warden of Healing, which is really nice. That'll help heal Elrond. All right, blind Vilya gets me. Hey, it's Jubair. All right, well, that's nice. I'll take that. And then I move the wrong token. So Elrond is supposed to be ready thanks to Unexpected Courage. There's my hand. I got Furial. I have a Test of Will. So yeah, let's just keep building up those resources on Elrond to get Furial in play. And I have a Test of Will in case I reveal a nasty treachery. 10 against nothing. And we get, I'll take it, man. I'll take that Desert Oasis. Thank you very much. Now, based on the quest card, we are not at the same stage, so we need to reveal a second card. And we get the Pursuers from Mordor, so Doomed 2. And then we discard cards until we get an orc and add it to the orcs area. Nope, we're not doing that. We're doing Test of Will, so we still do the Doomed 2, but we are not adding another orc to the orcs area. So that means it is 10 against 2, so we will be making a total of 8 progress. So 2 will clear the Oasis, which lets me heal Stompy for 4. And then I can only place 5 on the quest because I did not send the Mumak, but I accidentally placed an extra progress. It's not going to matter, trust me on that one, but it is a mistake. All right, we're going to travel to the Oasis, so I have to exhaust somebody. So I will exhaust Elrond, and then I remember I was supposed to discard the top card of the encounter deck to place the progress on the orcs area. I mean, they're advancing no matter what card I flip over here, and of course it's a 0-1. It's a treachery when it doesn't matter, but when I actually need that card to be a low threat card, it never is. All right, 3C, Hunting in Harad. If we've already defeated 3B, we're going to discard cards until we get an orc and add it to the orcs area. So once again, getting too far ahead is bad. But we have not beat 3B. That is currently where we are. We are at 3B. Okay, 3D. The orcs have 20 quest points, and while we are at 4B, Uruk Chieftain cannot leave the orcs area, and each enemy at this stage gets +1 threat. Forced, at the end of the quest phase, return Uruk Chieftain to the orcs area, and discard the top card of the encounter deck. Place X progress on this stage, where X is the discarded card's threat, plus the total threat in the orcs area, and then if we are at 3B, when they defeat this stage, we lose. Interestingly, now the Uruk Chieftain can take damage, so it doesn't have that effect on there. So if you can get him alone, you can kill him while you're at this stage. All right, Jubair is going to be defending for 3 against 3. He can discard the shadow from a non-unique enemy, so we will discard that, so we know he is safe. And now we got the 5 attack coming. That will kill my Northern Tracker, and the Eagles of the Misty Mountain will be 1 hit point from death. So I think I'll just have Stompy defend it. Okay, raise my threat by 1. Okay, dang. So I could have had the Eagles defend it. I didn't want to lose anybody this round. So Stompy takes some damage. It'll be able to be healed by the Oasis, but unfortunately I can only swing back for 4, which is 1 damage away from killing that Pursuer. Jubair can defend it, no problem. It just stinks that I didn't know if the Eagles would live. I just really didn't want to lose another big ally this turn with a +1 attack. So took a risk. Actually, I didn't take a risk. I played it safe. That's what I did. I'm not used to playing it safe. I'm usually kind of risky. Alrighty, let's go into the next round. Come on, Stargazer. It is not. It is the Marksman of Lorien, which is an excellent attacker. Costs 3 tactics resources. Alrighty, let's do Vilya first, and then we'll put in Fury. Yeah, look at that! Oh, that is such a clutch draw. I was so happy. I was planning on discarding a card, giving Elrond the resource so he could pay for the Furial in my hand, but I blind Vilya'd it. Oh, that was huge. Okay, so I'm still going to discard a card to give Elrond a resource. He has 5 of them. I have some powerful allies in my hand, but let's do Elven Light with Arwen's resource and see if I can't get another option. Perhaps one I'd rather get in. Okay, it is a Gandalf, which is good, but I don't need Gandalf right now. So I think I'll spend all of Elrond's resources and pull Glorfindel out of my discard pile and put him into play. So Glorfindel, amazing stats, and then you can discard a card to ready him, limit once per phase. So super powerful ally to get in play. And that was an amazing turn. Glorfindel and Furial in the same turn. So when you commit your characters to the quest, you commit them all at the same time. Furial says after she commits to the quest, you look at the top card of the encounter deck, and if you don't like it, discard it. So that is just bonkers. Bonkers good. And she quests for 3. I sent Stompy on the quest so we can hopefully make 10 progress. We have to clear a 2 threat location. The card that we're going to look at to see if we want to reveal is the Harad Road, which will add 5 threat, and it gets added to the Orc area. I can travel to it. I mean, I'm cards in the Orcs area are not immune, but I'm just going to get rid of that. I don't want to deal with that. Okay, and then instead we get the Fear of Mordor, so all of my allies get -1 to their stats. Okay, that's not bad, to be honest. So I lose a little bit of willpower, but I sent a lot more than I needed. We don't have to reveal the additional card. So we are going to clear the Oasis, which heals Stompy for 4, and then we place 10 on the quest. So we really only have 15 out of 20 there. The Chieftain returns to the Orcs area, so that's why I didn't want that Harad Road, because that would have been 5 more threat sitting there in the Orcs area. And I'm just reading all the cards. It's a lot to keep track of. The quest stages kind of change how they work each time, so you really have to read everything twice. Okay, and it's a treachery, so it's actually a 0. So we only had 4 progress. That is really good. And I want to reiterate, when you are not at the same stage as the Orcs, all the cards in the Orcs area are immune to player card effects, so you can't do anything with them. So if you reveal the Harad Road, it sits there until the Orcs catch up with you, and then you can finally travel to it. Alrighty, I am going to discard this Elven Light in the engagement phase to ready Glorfindel. That's what I was showing there. So he is ready. I am worried about shadows that say exhaust characters or additional attacks. They definitely exist. There's no shadow there, thanks to Jubair discarding it. But he is going to take a damage because he only has 2 defense instead of 3. And then the Chieftain is attacking for 5. Trying to decide if my Eagles are going to die, because if they exhaust, they're only defending for 1 with 4 hit points. So they're dead if they defend. But I really don't want to take any more damage on Stompy because I can't guarantee I'll be able to heal him ever again. I've gotten pretty lucky so far. So, yep, I think the Eagles are just going to have to take the hit. And it's exhaust a character you control. So there you go. That's what I was worried about happening. So I will exhaust Glorfindel. If I needed his attack, I could ready him by discarding a card. But I have enough. Elrond is ready, and the Northern Tracker attacks for 1. So we can kill the Uruk Pursuer. And we only have the Chieftain in play. So I think at this stage in the game, this is about as best as you can do. I am pacing this quest perfectly. I'm only letting the Orcs stay 1 stage behind me when I get ahead of them, so I don't have to add any extra Orcs. And I think I'm doing okay. All right, so we draw the Marksman of Lorien. So that's another good attacker. Not something I really need right now. I would like to get that Eladra Stargazer because I'd really like to be able to plan what card I'm going to Villia. So I did an Elven Light, which drew me a Heed the Dream. So let's play Heed the Dream. Look at top 5, and I get to add a card. Okay, Beorn, that's good, but really expensive. Yazan, again, really expensive. Another Warden of Healing, and another Elven Light. I guess I'll just take the Elven Light. Not really thrilled with my choices there, but I'm glad I get to give the deck a shuffle because maybe now the Stargazer will end up in my top few cards. So let's take the Elven Light. It's another card I can discard to ready Glorfindel or give Elrond a resource. So you give your deck a shuffle after Heed the Dream. Another good reason to grab the Elven Light is I don't want to accidentally blind Villia into it. Speaking of Villia, let's see what I shuffled onto the top of my deck. Hey, the Eagles are back. Okay, I will gladly take another copy of Eagles of the Misty Mountains. Elrond will bounce back up with some courage, and then I will discard the Elven Light to give him a resource. And then finally, I will spend tactics resources to put in the Marksman of Lorien, who has 3 attack, and when she enters play, you can choose a enemy to get -2 defense until the end of the round. So just a really solid attacker. All right, let's go on the quest. So I don't need to send much. I only need to make 5 progress, actually. So I'm not going to send Stompy. Furial is going to go on the quest. So I'm sending a total of 13, and we reveal the Towering Dunes, which is totally fine. That is totally fine. So it's a 3-threat location that pretty much stops me from putting progress on other locations in the staging area, and you got to reveal a card to travel there. But we advanced to 4A, the Ford of Harnan. So we're going to add the River Harnan to the staging area. We're going to shuffle the encounter discard pile into the deck and discard cards until we get an orc, and add that orc to the orcs area, so they're going to catch up with us pretty quick. The River Harnan is 4-threat, 10 progress, Desert River immune. Players cannot travel there until we put 20 progress on 4B. When we travel there, we got to reveal a card per player, and then we can't win the game unless we get this river out of play. So we got to cross the river is basically the thing. We cross the river, the orcs can't follow us, and that's how we win the game. All right, so let's put the discard pile into the encounter deck, give it a shuffle, and we will add an orc to the orcs staging area. All right, the orc we are adding is, okay, it's another Uruk Pursuer, so that's a 2-threat orc. All right, let's look at side 4B, our final quest stage. 20 points needed. Forced. After characters are committed to the quest, no more than 5 progress can be placed. 10 if we send our Mumax. Forced. After an enemy attack and destroys a character, we place a progress on the orc stage, and if we defeat this stage, we win. All right, let's see how much progress the orcs make. So the chieftain goes back to the orcs area. We discard the top card. That is a 3-threat enemy, so that's going to be 3, and then each orc enemy gets +1 threat because we are now at 4B. So we have added a total of 11. So that means they are now at 15 out of the 20. So we get 1 round before they catch back up with us here. So I'm going to use this combat phase to my advantage and travel to the Towering Dunes. I have to reveal an encounter card, but if I get an enemy, that is okay because I do not have these orcs from the orc area coming and getting me. So let's travel to the Towering Dunes. Unfortunately, we do not get an enemy. We get the Expanse of Harad, which is 2-threat, +2 if we are not at the same stage as the orcs. So we are not at the same stage. We are at a 4, they are at a 3, so that is a 4-threat location. And we end the round right here with no combat for the first time. All right, next round, and look at what we found. The Eladra Stargazer, we got her. All right, there was 3 copies in the deck, so odds were we were going to get it pretty soon. So she costs 2 spirit resources. You can exhaust her. You look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and you rearrange them however you want. So that lets me make my Villia target known. Okay, Treebeard is pretty good. I don't need another Furial. I don't need another Marksman. Don't need another Warden. Don't need another Stargazer. So looks like it's going to be Treebeard. I shall arrange these 5 cards like so, putting Treebeard on top so I can use Elrond and Villia to pop him into play. His amazing stats. He enters play exhausted, collects a resource every round to ready himself or to pay for Ent cards. So he will be exhausted. Let's discard Elven Light to give Elrond a resource after he readies with Unexpected Courage. And then the Warden of Healing will come in, who can heal 1 damage on 2 different characters, but Elrond makes it so it heals 2 damage on 2 different characters, and I think it's pretty obvious that the 1 deck is living up to its name. This is a pretty unstoppable board state. Well, we know the orcs are going to advance this round, so we can't send everybody on the quest. So we are sending a total of 18. We are currently up against 6. The card Furial is going to look at is Towering Dunes. Okay, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. So it's 3 more threat. We'll let that stay. We will clear the active location and place 3 progress on the quest. I adjust it in a moment when I realize the location and staging is +2 threat. And now we're going to see what the orcs do. It really doesn't matter what they discard. They are advancing no matter what. It's another 2 threat enemy. Okay, so they now advance to their final stage. So they have caught up with us. And as always with this quest, it's going to be a close finish. Okay, 4D. The Ford of Harnan, 20 progress needed. Uruk Chieftain cannot take damage while the River Harnan is in the staging area. Forced, at the end of the quest phase, we discard the top card of the encounter deck. We're going to place X progress on this stage, where X is the threat of the discarded card plus any engaged enemies. If the orcs defeat this stage, we lose the game. So let's travel to the expanse of Harad, and I realize I should have had 2 more threat on here because we were not at the same stage, and I'm so proud of myself for catching this mistake that I forget to raise my threat by 2 when we travel there, but I do catch that in a moment. I think I catch that next turn, that I should have raised my threat by 2. So I will adjust the progress on the quest, so I have got that correct. And now the orcs in the orc staging area are going to come down and try to get me. With the River Harnan in the staging area, I cannot kill the chieftain, but I can kill this other Uruk pursuer. I'm going to discard a card from my hand to ready Glorfindel, so he has readied himself in the engagement phase. And now we're going to deal out the shadow cards at the start of the combat phase. And then the shadow card on the Uruk pursuer is going to be discarded by Jubair, and he's going to defend for 3 against 3. So no damage there. And then the Eagles of the Misty Mountain will defend the chieftain, so they will take at least 3 damage. If he gets any sort of boost, the Eagles will die. This card just says if we are not at the same stage, we move the attacking enemy to the orcs area. So all kinds of cards that make those orcs advance faster. All right, let's just attack for a total of 5, which I have plenty of characters ready to do. We will kill the pursuer, and we are sitting pretty good. So we are going to go into the refresh phase. So I raise my threat. Everybody will ready. And then I'm going to use the Stargazer to look at my next 5 cards to plan out the next card I draw and Vilya target. Alrighty, looking at these cards, we do have an Eagles of the Misty Mountain, and that is probably the best Vilya target. So I think I will draw the Marksman and put the Eagles as my Vilya target. So that is indeed exactly what I do. I draw the Marksman. Everyone gets their money, including Treebeard. I will trigger Elrond and Vilya. I know the Eagles of the Misty Mountain are the target, so I have another Eagles in play. Then I'm going to discard Furial, and I will discard her to Arwen's ability to give Elrond a resource. And then I think what I am going to do is spend all 5 of my resources to put in Gandalf. And what I'm going to do is drop my threat, because there is an orc that is really annoying that is 35 engagement. So if I can get under 30, I don't have to engage it, and as long as I'm not engaged with another orc, I can kill the chieftain. So trying to avoid having another orc engage me is pretty key. So let's drop my threat all the way down to 30. It's going to bounce back up to 32 in a second when I realize I never raised it from traveling to the expanse of Harad. I want to make sure I put the 10 progress on the quest, so I'm trying to send as much willpower as possible. When it's all said and done, I have sent a total of 21 against 7. Northern Tracker places a progress on the dunes, and we get the Desert Oasis. I can't believe it. It came back. All right. We clear the active location. We're going to place 7 progress on the quest, bringing us up to 10, which is perfect. And then I'm also going to discard the top card of the encounter deck, and it's just a 1. So the orcs are going to make a total of 5 progress. I should not have moved the chieftain back up to the staging area. It's the total amount of threat from the discarded card plus enemies engaged with you. It doesn't matter that I moved him back up, but he's supposed to stay engaged with me. So they make 5 progress, and now I'm going to raise my threat because I realized I never did from traveling to the expanse of Harad. My threat is 32, and I have an oasis I can go visit, so let's do that. So we'll travel there and exhaust somebody. Got plenty of options, so we will just exhaust one of my marksmen. The chieftain is going to be attacking, but first I'm going to do some healing. So I almost have all the damage healed off the board. And I put Gandalf in, so he's the perfect person to defend here. And it says raise my threat by 1. Okay, so my threat goes up to 33. Gandalf takes 3 damage, and because the river is in the staging area, I can't damage this guy. So we just go into the next round where I will once again be using Stargazer to see what cards I'm going to have a choice to draw and Vilya. Okay, we are in the refresh phase. I exhausted the Stargazer, and we have Jubair, Elfhelm, Furial, another Stargazer, and the Warden of Healing. All right, I will make it so I can Vilya, Elfhelm, and I will draw the Warden of Healing. We have drawn a second Warden of Healing, and now I will use Elrond and Vilya to put Elfhelm in. He helps you with your threat as long as he's ready. When you raise it, he drops it back down. Let's discard the Marksman to Arwen so we can give Elrond another resource. And then I remember Gandalf shouldn't be in play, so I discard Gandalf. And now we're going to commit characters on the quest. We are going to be sending a total of 23 against 7. I want to make sure to make 10 progress on the quest so we can travel to the river. The card we reveal, hey, look, okay, it is the Uruk of Mordor. That is the one with the 35 engagement, so that was perfect. I do not need to engage that guy. We have made enough progress to clear the Desert Oasis and place the 10 progress, so that was perfect. I have now healed all the damage off of my characters, so everybody is healthy, including Stompy. And then now we are going to see how much progress the orcs make. So it's 2 plus 4. So they make 6 more progress. So they have made 11 out of their 20. So it's pretty close, but as long as I can kill the chieftain, we're going to be sitting pretty good. All right, let's reveal a card to travel there. The Northern Tracker should have placed a progress. There's me remembering. And okay, it's the Blistering Erg. And X is the stage number of the main quest. So that is 4. So that's a 4 threat location. Not too shabby. I just didn't want an orc. I didn't want an orc to engage me or maybe attach to the chieftain. There's a bunch of those wargs that can attach to the chieftain. All right, let's have nobody defend it. Stompy can take some damage. You got it, Stompy. All right, so it's 5 against undefended, and the shadow is if you are not at the same stage as the orcs. Okay, we are. So that's never triggered. So we did good there. Stompy's going to take 5 damage. Thanks, Stompy. You did really good. And now if I can attack for 9, we can get rid of the chieftain. And I definitely have it. Plenty of characters with lots of attack. So the chieftain is going to be removed from play. And that means now, as long as I can clear the river this next turn, we will win. So let's go into the next round doing the Stargazer trick again. I'm looking for Leadership Faramir or Beorn. I just want to get them into play, just to have the fun of having them come into play. I don't find either of them, but I do have a Heed the Dream, so maybe I can do some trickery where I draw Heed the Dream, I draw Stargazer with an Elven Light, and then because Heed the Dream shuffles my deck, that second Stargazer will let me find Faramir or Beorn. I don't know. It's a long shot, but let's give it a shot here. All right, I drew some dreams. Now I'm going to play Elven Light and draw the other Stargazer. And now let's play Heed the Dream and look at my top 5 cards and add something to my hand. I really don't have anything in the top 5 I want in my hand, but that is how I'm going to shuffle my deck. So I'm just trying to do a little fun here at the end of the game. Oh, there's Gildor. That would have been a good ally to get in. All right. Yeah, whatever. I'll just, I don't know, take this Warden. And then we're going to give the deck a shuffle. And then I'm going to play my other Stargazer, and we'll see what she sees. Definitely a win more play at this point, but this quest is so hard, I feel like giving it a little bit of a stomp here at the end, especially for all that damage it did to Stompy. Poor little guy. All right, Stargazer coming in after I just shuffled, looking at my top 5 with a second Stargazer, and we get, there he is! There's Leadership Faramir. Okay, cool. So I'm going to put him on top of my deck. And then I will Elrond Vilya him in so he can do the big willpower boost to everybody. And I should be able to make my 10 progress no problem. There is, a decent amount of threat in the staging area. But I have Furial, so if it's a terrible card that comes up, she can just get rid of it. All right, discarding the Elven Light to Arwen for the final time in the game to give Elrond one more resource. And let's go questing. All right, we are sending a total of 28 against 9. Furial is going to take a look at the top card. Fear of Mordor. All my allies get -1 willpower. I would still win, but let's just get rid of that and see if the next card would stop me. Nope, it's only a 3-threat enemy. So that is perfectly fine. We do make our 10 progress, and if I use Faramir, we're going to boost it even more. So, yep, that is going to be a victory against the extremely hard quest, Race Across Harad. Bring your A game against this quest. This is a championship game here. This is the hardest quest in the Harad cycle. It's one of the hardest quests in the game, and you are definitely going to need to bring the power cards if you want to defeat this thing. It can steamroll you very easily, and if you make one mistake or if you slow down for just a little bit, you will lose. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this one. Take care. Bye-bye.